anybody can actually be a singer. நம்ம எல்லாருக்குள்ளேயுமே ஒரு அளவுக்கு மியூசிக் இருக்குன்னு நான் ரொம்ப சீரியஸாக நம்புறேன். வாய்ஸ் ஆக்டிங் unfortunately is kind of self-learn. It's not just the voice that acts, the entire body actually acts. Even Trisha's mom came and told me, you actually sound exactly like Trisha. It didn't sound like someone else was speaking for her. When they edited Thug Life, there were like entire sequences, context had to be re-established in this scene. So we redubbed the entire scene and we used completely different dialogues to what was spoken in the original scene. Amir sir, he's so clear in his vision of what exactly he wants from every scene. And even if you move like a little bit, no, it is jarring for him. So he will make you do it again and again till you get exactly the meter that he wants. You know, 96 la and the voice quality in the chilla, we want that. Abdina avanga appove enikita sollirundanga. Some directors prefer certain voice qualities and they go for that. We can't hide from AI anymore. It's here. Probably not take our jobs, but to make it challenging for us. There are actual AI actors that have signed Hollywood films. Not even a joke. I think AI is a tool, bro. At the end of the day, dubbing la pathakala is one curse that we have to live with. So they try to get all the performance with the dubbing artist.
Okay, I can understand this because even in like music recording, when the artist comes to sing and they make a mistake, they say mixing la pathukala.
Correct.
Adella mix pannila.
Post la pathukka mudiyadhu, bro.
What is the difference between singing and voice acting? Is there any similarities between them? Can a musician automatically become a voice actor, or is there a real difference between these two? And how does AI influence all these concepts? To talk about all this, we have a very special guest. We have Madrashe.
Hi.
Hi. She is a singer, lyricist, director, voice artist, RJ, composer, and so much more.
Right.
And she's worked on some of the legends films like Mani Ratnam, Lokesh Kanagraj, Murugadas, and so much more. And you can hear her voice in Ponniyin Selvan 1 and 2, and then in Coolie, Nittam Oruvanam, Ko, Mangata. So I'm very grateful and happy that you accepted this collaboration and you're here to talk about music.
No, it's my pleasure, bro, to be here. உங்ககிட்ட நேர்ல பேசணும் ரொம்ப நாளா பிளான்ல இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ அட்லீஸ்ட் இந்த மாதிரி நடக்குது.
Thank you. You built a career both in singing and as a voice artist.
Yeah.
And if someone has no idea about what these two mean,
Right.
and if they want to know the difference or similarities,
Right.
what would you say?
Singing வந்து it's a talent that you have to, it's a skill that you have to learn and hone over several years. And you know, like anybody can actually be a singer. நம்ம எல்லாருக்குள்ளேயுமே ஒரு அளவுக்கு மியூசிக் இருக்குன்னு நான் ரொம்ப சீரியஸாக நம்புறேன். ஸோ இஃப் யூ ஹோன் தட் ஸ்கில் யூ கேன் டெஃபினெட்லி பி அ குட் சிங்கர். அதே மாதிரி இப்போ நம்ம நிஜ வாழ்க்கையில் we all perform a character which is us, and we all perform in multiple different emotions. நமக்கு கோவம் வரும், நமக்கு சோகமா இருக்கும், நமக்கு சந்தோஷம் வரும். We don't speak the same way in all these emotions, right? So அந்த ரியல் லைஃப்ல நம்ம எப்படி இருக்கோமோ அதே வந்து கேரக்டராகவும் மாற்றி வேற ஒரு கேரக்டராகவும் மாற்றி பண்ணுறது தான் வாய்ஸ் ஆக்டிங். ஸோ இது வேற ஸ்கில், அது வேற ஸ்கில். தெர் ஆர் சம் ஸ்கில்ஸ் தட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் இங்கேருந்து அங்கே வந்து அங்கேருந்து இங்கே வருது. மியூசிக்கில் வந்து யூ லேர்ன் டு சிங் இன் அ தாளம் ஒரு பீட். So that kind of translates into dubbing where you have to sing in a meter, you have to speak in a meter. ஏன்னா அங்கே already they would have spoken in a certain meter, right? So you have to replicate that. Your talam comes in. Similarly, the emotions and bhava that you learn in music kind of translates into dubbing as well. So, and both ways, whatever emotions that you pick up from dubbing, that also comes into music. So
There's a huge difference, you said. So if someone has to learn a completely new skill like that,
yeah,
what are the things that they'll have to learn from scratch?
Music, I think, is fairly structured, right? So you have Western classical, Hindustani, Carnatic.
Yeah.
So you start from Saregama or Do Re Mi Fa, and then you kind of grow from there. And there are set syllabuses in all these different formats where you learn. So music is fairly straightforward. And even if you want to pick up an instrument, I think there are enough teachers out there that will teach you how to go from stage 1 to stage 2. Voice acting, unfortunately, is something that you have to kind of self-learn. There are a few courses. There are a few people that are doing courses. Even the Dubbing Union conducts a lot of courses. But I guess it's learn it better by yourself than by going to these courses is what I have felt. So the skill essentially that I picked up, this is going to be a long answer, is to be able to notice how I speak in a certain emotion. very early when I started dubbing and all of that, I started noticing how my voice goes when I'm angry. While I'm angry and I'm screaming at someone, I'll start noticing how my voice is going. Similarly, if I'm like sad, how is my voice? And I'll start noticing. So you have to notice how your voice naturally does these emotions. And the second skill that you have to learn is the art of mirroring, especially when you're dubbing for a really good artist like Aditi Rao Hydari or Trisha, who I believe are really good artists by themselves. You'll see their body language is in a certain way. They'll be smiling. They'll have their shoulder up. Like entire Kundavai, right? If you notice, Trisha's body language is very different from how she is in any of her other movies. There's no urbanness. There's that princess quality. Her shoulder will be rolled back. When I was dubbing, I used to roll my shoulders back before I take any take. So you mirror how the artist has performed, like how their eyes move, how their neck moves. You start like being that character and being that artist when you're dubbing. So that's the second skill. So all these things you learn as you go, I guess. So
Okay. Very
yeah,
interesting. Because
yeah.
I was wanting to ask you
Hmm.
something. When actors perform
Yeah,
on screen,
right.
visual cues, so
Correct.
we have a lot of things to give that emotion. For example, their facial expression, or body language, like you said, or even the way they have their eye contact with
Right.
the antagonist or whoever. So there are several tools that they can use to emote the same thing. But when it comes to a dubbing artist or a voice actor, they only have a single tool. That's
Correct.
their voice.
Yeah.
So how do you think that same extent of showing that emotion happens for a voice actor?
So it's not just the voice. We do have the visual cue because we are looking at the scene and then dubbing, right? The biggest visual cue for me would be the artist themselves. Like that's what I was talking about mirroring as well. They've already performed and lived that particular scene. So all you have to do is to move like them and like pretend that you are in that scene as well. Like take the visual cues and be able to imagine it around you, etc. So it is, yeah, it's a little extra effort, but yeah, it comes.
Yeah, but how does it translate to the audience then? That
So
emotion.
at least for me, right? The biggest compliment that anyone has given me is, especially for Ponniyin Selvan, after the film came out, is when I even like put up a post saying, "Hey, I dubbed for Trisha," and people started coming and fighting with me on the comments saying, "Don't lie, Trisha dubbed for herself." And even Trisha's mom came and told me, You actually sound exactly like Trisha. It didn't sound like someone else was speaking for her." And for me, I think that is my biggest compliment, right? If someone is not able to recognize that I was the dubbing artist that played that role, I think I've done my part.
Hmm.
I guess that's what I try to do. I try to do exactly what the artist has done, or wherever small corrections are required. Sometimes they would have done something அவங்க ரொம்ப சிரிச்சு பேசியிருப்பாங்க, and the director will want to control that a little bit. So those corrections you do, of course. But I try to kind of do exactly what the artist did there, because like you said, they had all these visual cues. There was another artist with them performing, so they respond and act in a certain way. So if we are able to replicate that, we are able to mirror them and give exactly what they have done, I think that kind of is 80% of the work.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
translates to the audience
That is
automatically.
what translates to the audience.
Okay.
Because you don't see a separate voice that is acting and a separate face that is acting. It feels like one cohesive character or a person, right? So that's what it is. Emotion also, like even if you close your eyes, okay, if you take the same line and speak it in, I think even for music we do this, right? If you take the same line and speak it in different bhavams, you are able to pick up whether someone is angry. We all do this when you call your friend, and just the way they say hello, you know whether they are angry, they're upset. How are we able to pick that up? So it's all in the modulation and like how your body moves when you speak that particular line. So it's not just the voice that acts; the entire body actually acts. You only hear the voice. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. When I was little, I
Mm-hmm.
used to obviously watch movies and series. And this is like when I was in second standard, third standard. And I just used to understand and assume that if I see somebody on TV,
Mm-hmm.
I just assume they only spoke those
Right.
dialogues. In fact, I used to be so stupid that when I see these English movies in Sun TV, KTV,
Okay.
இவளுக்கு தெரியாதே தமிழ் இங்கிலீஷ் தானே தெரியும்
So cute. Okay.
So, in a larger picture, now, like a lot of people who act in that particular film will know the language.
Right.
But why do we still go for a voice actor, even if the actors know that particular language?
There are two, three reasons. Okay. One, there are some artists whose voice the director might not find to be right for the character. Like, for example, you remember Aishwarya, Lakshmi's daughter? She had a very bold kattakoral, like they say in Tamil, right? So if she's doing a very demure character, that voice might not fit this character. So they would want a different voice in that sense. Or the artist is very busy and they might not get the dates for dubbing, and also it's cheaper to get a dubbing artist instead of the main artist sometimes. The third reason is that like some artists they speak Tamil, but for Ponniyin Selvan, right? Actually, Trisha did one round of dubbing, and she did a great job at whatever she did. So when Manisha gave me the brief, his brief was just do exactly what she has done. That was the brief he had given me. But because she is an urban person, like there's a small accent that comes. Sometimes directors might want to avoid that accent, so they use a different artist. Like a lot of Malayalam actors have a slight Malayalam twang, and if they're acting like a Madurai punnu, so you want a Madurai voice. So those kind of things. So there are different reasons. It's not just, and a lot of actors these days are insisting that they do the dubbing themselves. But some directors prefer voice actors because sometimes there's also another reason. Some female artists, because we live in a very patriarchal world and a very patriarchal film industry, which is just about, growing up right now. The female characters are more about beautiful women than, great performers in many, many cases, right? So someone that's like really pretty that can hold a frame might not be able to act or perform all the emotions well. So in that case, dubbing la patakla is one is one curse that we have to live with. So they try to get all the performance with the dubbing artists. So this is changing these days, but yeah, this is also one of the reasons why dubbing used to be a thing.
Okay.
So all of this.
Okay, I can understand this because even in like music recording,
Hmm.
when the artist comes to sing and they
Right.
make a mistake, they say mixing la paathukalam.
Correct.
Adala mix பண்ணிடலாம். Yeah, so
Correct.
it's
Yeah.
happening everywhere.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So postல பாத்துக்க முடியாது bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
Okay.
So these are like the several reasons.
Okay, okay. Even like you said, for music also, like in the video, in the song, somebody else sings.
Correct. Exactly.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so there's a difference.
Because like Munna vandu you had Tyagaraja Bhagavathar and all those people that used to sing their own songs, right? For like the entire black and white era, I think all of them sang their own songs. And then TMS came and he could sing both like Shivaji and like MGR. That was a great thing. And then SPB came and he could sing like anybody. You are expecting an artist to be too much sometimes, right? You're expecting them to be an actor, to be a singer, to be a dancer. There's just too many talents that you're expecting. Sometimes one or two might go up or down, and for that you use a professional to kind of correct it, I guess.
Okay, okay. Another interesting question that I had, sometimes the weight of a scene
Right.
will be so heavy.
Right.
It might be like an action of a trauma
Right.
or emotional scene or whatever. The actors who act that scene out might go off script. For example, there's this series called Stranger Things.
I have seen it.
You've
Yes.
seen it.
Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown, the main actress. So there's a scene where she'll have to shout and use her powers against that evil Demogorgon.
Correct.
But she's so spent in the scene that she'll scream and shout, but eventually she'll collapse and fall on her co-actor's arms.
Right.
Finn Mallet.
Right.
But that was not on the script. Okay. She just was so spent with the day's work or with that scene or whatever that she does that, but that's in the series.
Right.
They did not cut it. It elevated the scene even more.
Right. Right.
So I was wondering if this extent of emotional thing that happens and going off script and all that, does that also happen for a singer or for an artist or like a voice actor also? Is that space there?
Sometimes there was a scene in Thug Life. I don't know if you remember the sequence where Trisha and Simbu are talking in the beach and walking. So when they edited Thug Life, there were like entire sequences that were taken out from from the edit, right? So the context had to be re-established in this scene because all the context that was already said in like a bunch of other scenes had to now be consolidated in this one scene. So we redubbed the entire scene, and we used completely different dialogues to what was spoken in the original scene.
Okay.
I mean, it does show in certain places the lip sync does not match with what is being said, and that's a thing that we'll have to work with. I think here AI might catch up with Tamil eventually. They're already able to do it with English and a bunch of Western languages, but I think it's still yet to catch up with Tamil to fix lip sync right now. But I guess we'll get there. You can notice the lip and voice being different in some places. You also have censor issues. Like you would have said something and censor does not accept it and they want you to change the dialogue. So those kind of things also have to happen. Oh yeah, in Kaatru there's a sequence where Aditya Rao Hydari is singing to Delhi Ganesh sir, and she hears the flights and she walks out and she sees the flights and she continues singing afterwards, right? So there was a bhajan that she had sung there, and I also dubbed for her and I sang the bhajan there and all of that. So when it went to censor, they were like, "This is not Tamil, so either you have to put subtitles for that song or remove the song." But the entire sequence is about her humming. So we what we did then was we just did a Tananam Namtam kind of a zone. So I had to match it as much as possible to how she had moved her lips. It doesn't show as much in the end, of course. So nobody knew that it was a bhajan that we had to change. So more than like changing it as an artist at dubbing, sometimes we do that. We use a different modulation that kind of lifts it and stuff. A lot of times corrections happen this way, like we have to change what actually happened in the scene and make it completely different. So yeah, that
Okay.
happens.
Okay. Very interesting. I'm going to see Thug Life again for that scene.
Yeah, sure.
Also, when you go to a studio to do like dubbing or when you go as a singer, do you have that entire freedom to give that emotion, or are you always under the director when the director tells you, like, let's say it's a crying scene and they tell you, இந்த மாதிரி நாளு இவ்வளோ கதறாத அந்த மாதிரி. So, is it always the director's input, or do you lead as an artist, or like do you give options?
It's a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
So the director he's obviously the person that he or she is obviously the person that has like lived the script.
Yeah.
And they know exactly what nuance they want in every scene, right? So they always do direct you. They always do tell you that I want this much. இவங்க கொஞ்சம் அதிகமா சிரிச்சிருக்காங்க, அது கம்மி பண்ணுங்க. All of that, they give you a direction. You kind of do that, and sometimes like I've done this, like I've done an entire scene and the way they want, and then I've said, can I try this in a different way? And I've done that, and sometimes they've liked it and kept it. So you do have the freedom. You can ask if you can try something different, but the final decision obviously is with the director. Yeah. So I've been very fortunate to work with directors who have always given me a free hand with a lot of things. Like even Mani sir, I knew him first only as a dubbing artist. So I met him during Cuddle, and Kaatru especially. I was working at this point and I was in Bangalore, and I came back every weekend just to dub for this film, right? And he was willing to wait for me, and he will almost always say, "Let her do what she does. I'll come and correct." So he'll not even be there in the dubbing. So they will only correct me for dialogue pronunciations or dialogues itself, but they'll not necessarily push me too much. After that, he'll come and say, "This is okay, this you'll have to move it a little bit." It's like that. Some directors like that are like very comfortable with what I do and they just let me do what I do. So it was the time when I was doing Kadal, I also did Adi Bhagavan, right? Amir sir is like, he's so clear in his vision of what exactly he wants from every scene. In his vision, even if you move like a little bit, no, it is jarring for him. So he will make you do it again and again till you get
Okay.
exactly the meter that he wants. But that, I think, was an extraordinary experience for me to understand, because it was still early days for me as a dubbing artist. It was a great experience and exercise for me to understand what are the small nuances that a director is expecting. So from the next time onwards, when someone's asking me to do something, I know what they mean, right? So I've seen both. Like GVM sir, I have worked with him on multiple projects, and with each project he'll come with a completely different brief. With Hemanika in Inayarindal, his brief was keep it as flat as possible. Like, do not emote. And I was very curious and I asked him, why do you not want me to emote? And he said, sometimes when you don't give the expression, the audience fill it up the way they want. And Hemanika is a character that he wants to become a dream girl in all their heads. So he wanted them to fill up some of these things by themselves. So I think each director has that interesting vision for that character that I don't think you and I will ever know unless they tell us, right? So it's extraordinary to work with different directors and understand what each of them want and then adapt to that. Yeah.
I think all that experience piles up in the
Yeah,
end and
yeah, it
it's
does. It
beautiful,
does.
right?
Yeah. And I do it only for that, bro. It's like really
Yeah.
fun to for like a few weeks or like even for a few hours to become someone else in the studio, like to become a completely different character and live their life and then come back. And I can still go to the vegetable market and then பத்து ரூபாய் குறைச்சு கொடுங்க. So
Yeah.
yeah, which is the joy.
But sometimes does it feel a little like caged when there's a director who tells you this is exactly how I want it?
Sometimes I get that's all artists and that's how we feel, but which is also a part of the overall experience, I think, right? Like even okay, if I have to talk as a composer for a second, I will have a certain vision for a song. Yeah. So if a musician comes and like, okay, if I you mixed Podado for me, so I'll take that song for an example. That song is a song full of pain and a song that has to be sung almost like I'm shivering and like I'm whispering because this I can't say this too loud. So if I get someone like say Shruti Hassan, I'm a huge fan of hers by the way, but like that bold a voice, if she were to sing this song, it might not
Hmm.
like but I can still get Shruti Hassan, and if she sings it the same way, it might add so much more to the song. So that's the difference, right? So you kind of have a vision for the song or the scene that you're doing, and you kind of try to see how we can get the artist that's there to perform it closer to how you want. Like if you had Hemanika speaking like very loudly, she would not have been that delicate person that would you would have seen her as. So that's
Okay,
what it is.
okay. Nice, okay. What has been hard for you singing an emotional song or dubbing an emotional scene?
Neither.
Oh,
I
what
enjoy both.
challenged you?
I love the challenge, so it doesn't feel difficult. See, singing is a very different challenge from dubbing. Like singing, the technicalities are also there, right? There are some songs where faster when you have to do some gamaks and all of
Mm.
that, that's hard. Then you have to really like practice very hard and then go and sing it, and then you get that high when you actually hit it. Similarly, there are some scenes you have to catch the emotion right, or you have to get the diction right. So initially, when it's hard, you do it, but then eventually, when you like cross it, you feel the high. So that's what I've always felt.
Okay.
I haven't considered either as difficult.
Okay.
So yeah, I find both equally challenging and both
Okay.
equally fulfilling.
Nice. Okay. Okay. What I usually see on YouTube and Instagram, generally,
Mm.
I see a lot of behind the scenes
Right.
of recording, like singing.
Mm.
I see a lot of videos of Ariana Grande and all, like
Right.
when
Right.
she like
Yeah.
loops things and
Right.
records. It's so beautiful to see the final product,
Correct.
right? But I see very little of the same behind the scenes for a dubbing
Mm.
situation.
Right.
So how does it happen? Like from the beginning, do you get the script before that to prepare? Do you get the scenes before that from start to finish?
Nothing. So and I think that's best, right? So Okay, the only film where I have seen the script before I went for dubbing is Ponniyin Selvan, because I was also an AD on the
Yes.
set. Okay, but otherwise, you go there, you see the scene, and sometimes they also give you a script. Sometimes even it's a long voiceover where you don't have like a actor to lip sync, they'll give you a script. Otherwise, you see what they're speaking and you repeat it. So
Mm.
it's more that. It's more than the script, it's about picking up what they're saying and repeating it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So if it's a scene where there are two, three more people
Mhm.
speaking at the same
Right,
time,
right.
is everybody there in the
No,
studio
each person records
separately?
separately.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Is it hard? Because you don't get the conversation back, right?
No, it not necessarily, because you have a pilot, which is that like when they're shooting, they also record
Yes.
whatever they've spoken. So Raluku, you get what the other character is saying. So it's not that like empty or whatever. It has so happened that sometimes, but I think I dubbed and went, and the actor insisted that they come and dub again because they were like, இல்ல ரொம்ப ஹெவியா டஃப் குடுக்குறாங்க நானும் பண்ணும். So அந்த மாதிரி இல்லாம நடக்கும். So or after I've dubbed, they have dubbed the other artist and they felt உங்க voice கொஞ்சம் கம்மியா இருக்கு. So those things happen, but you
Mm.
adjust accordingly, and yeah.
Okay, okay.
I think if multiple people are in the same room, it becomes more hard. I'll Since you are a mix engineer, there will be overlapping dialogues, there will be overlapping breaths and breathing. So it becomes difficult for you to mix
Mm.
both together. And even with dubbing, right? Not always are we in perfect lip sync. So if they have to move a dialogue left or right, just like a little bit, if there's another character also speaking or breathing, that becomes a difficulty. So it's
Okay.
easier to dub separately.
Okay, okay, okay.
But I think I have seen a couple of sequences where the scene demanded that the two artists dubbed
Huh.
together. So they've done that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that happen in two different vocal booths or in the same
I think there
place?
was only once where they had both in the same vocal booth and dubbed. It
Okay.
almost never happens.
Okay.
Almost never.
Okay. So AI, in
Mhm.
a way, is there in all these creative processes,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
It's in everything.
Yeah.
How do you see it?
Okay. So when I was in college, I think there was a brand new plugin slash software that had come. It was called Melodyne. Okay. So basically the way they advertised was like, even if you just play one note, we can change it and make it into a melody. Even if you sing really badly, we can fix it. And so now anybody can sing, anybody can play. And there was a huge uproar, and they were like, how can you do this? This is a skill, la 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 la. Today, even professional artists insist that their voices are melodined once before you release, right? It all depends on how you see the tool. Of course, AI is a threat. Like even today morning, I think we were having this discussion of how there are several AI artists on Spotify, right? The advantage of having an AI artist is that you don't have to pay them royalty, right? So Spotify and a bunch of other audio platforms definitely push AI artists further. In fact, they create AI artists and put them in every single playlist and push their numbers up. These are artists with absolutely no Instagram handles. There's no other place where you will see them except on these audio platforms. So it makes no sense that they're having millions and millions of streams when independent artists like me are crying for 1,000 streams, right? So it definitely looks fishy for all of us. So it is definitely a problem. I'm not saying no. But on the other hand, if you are a Logic Pro user, for example, you know that the session player that comes there can be very helpful when you just want, you know, a slightly different thing to happen, or when you're in a rush and you don't have a player to play. So it depends on how you see AI as a tool. I have been doing this audio storytelling thing for Writers Super. Initially, definitely wanted to work with multiple artists and things like that. But humans are expensive. There is, like, if I am not able to make that money back, right? I'm a new YouTube channel. I've not started monetizing yet, and I want to do 4 episodes per month, let's say. And each episode has like 10, 15 characters, and for me to do all those characters with real voices and with editing and everything is probably going to work out to 40, 50K per episode. So for a new channel, spending close to 2 lakhs a month where I've not even started making money does not make sense. Whereas if I get a 11 Labs subscription, it's about 10,000. And 11 Labs voice to voice is a really great tool. So if you have one artist that's reading all the characters, I can speak in multiple male voices, I can speak in children's voices, I can do whatever I want with that tool. And essentially, my cost to create this channel comes down to about 10 to 15K per month, which makes more sense, right? So this will happen, right? AI will replace humans in certain places where they can't afford humans. Um, so, can you become so good that, like whatever said and done, AI is not human. AI doesn't feel the way humans feel, right? Even if you prompt it really cleverly, it cannot feel the emotions that a human feels. So, it cannot cry the way a human cries, right? So, if you become that good an artist, that you're better than AI at any point in time, that this character requires a human artist, you'll always be the first choice. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. And even as musicians, I think there are so many tools these days. Like you have this tool called Ace Studio, where you kind of play MIDI and it converts it into several voices. I've taken it for a test run. I've done one song. When I did Madrashe Weekly a couple of years back, I was experimenting with AI for like 3 songs. And for one, I got AI voices to sing, right? தமிழ்லாம் வாய்ப்பே இல்ல. It does a great job with English, but as vernacular artists, I think we are at a huge advantage because it does not know how to emote with Tamil or Telugu or Malayalam. It doesn't. Even Hindi is okay because it has that much data. But our language, like even within the language, you have so many dialects, it's so difficult for it to replicate any of it. So we have a little more time before it becomes a serious threat. But what I think is very important is, especially in big budget productions like films, where you can afford a human artist, I think we need to have some sort of ethics board governing these kind of decisions. Um, I was enraged when they released Ranjana with a new edit. They did not take permission from the actor to use their likeness, to change their likeness using AI. They did not take permission from the director. They did not take permission from any of the crew members before doing that. And that I think is an ethical no go, right? If you are using my voice and using AI to change my voice, you get my permission. You can't do it without my permission. I keep asking, like in multiple places where I, like even for lyrics, right? When I sign agreements these days, I'm asking, will you use this to train your data? Then I don't want to sign it. You can push back a little bit, not too much. But yeah, so I think the big production houses have to understand and work together to form some sort of an ethics and governance committee. And yeah, like keep humans above AI at any point. I understand that sometimes AI VFX might be much faster and much cheaper than, a regular VFX. If you are in a real hurry and you're not able to, understandable. Similarly, I worked on a short film where they did use real actors and real dubbing artists, and there were a couple of scenes where they were just not happy with the dubbing that was done, and they didn't have the budget to call bigger artists like for that. So I spoke for two male characters and changed the voice to with 11 Labs, right? So this is okay when you don't have the budget. Like I also put out a lot of AI music videos because I am an independent artist. I don't have the budget to do a music video for every song of mine. But if I do have the budget, I will definitely go with humans. That's the ethical standpoint that we'll have to take. Similarly, creating AI artists even actors these days in Hollywood, right? There are actual AI actors that have signed Hollywood films, and not even a joke. So those kind of things we need to question whether it is really necessary. So yeah, I guess it's a thin line. Like it has a lot of good, and I think we can't hide from AI anymore. It's here, and it's here to probably not take our jobs, but to make it challenging for us. If we do not learn AI and become at least masters in using AI for certain things, we will be left behind. There's no two ways about it.
No, I completely agree with
Yeah.
you because I get a lot of sponsorship from
Mhm.
AI companies also.
Right.
So sometimes I take that up and I just show how the workflow is done.
Right.
And I get comments saying, I was following you so long because you were doing all these things ethically, and suddenly I'm seeing AI and stuff like that. But I agree completely with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Even like there's this AI, I forgot the name, to organize your projects in Logic Pro and all.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's an AI that can do that.
Nice.
Because otherwise, if you, let's say you have like 100 tracks,
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
group them, organize, and then like, arrange them, it will
Mhm.
take minimum 20 or 30 minutes.
Correct.
But there's an AI where you can just put your files in. Recently, I saw that. And it just does that in like 1 minute or something.
Right.
So it's ready for you to mix it.
Correct.
And there's nothing wrong, I think, in
There's absolutely nothing
it
wrong.
just speeds up your workflow.
Yeah. There are like AI synths where you feed a certain sound. Like you like a flute, you put it into this synthesizer AI and creates a similar sound. That makes life so much simple for us rather than you're like, going through multiple libraries in Omnisphere and trying to figure out something that's close to this, right? I think AI is a tool, bro. At the end of the day,
Yes.
it's all about how we are going to use this tool, how human we are going to be while using this tool, like how we're going to keep our humanity and ethics while using these tools.
Yeah.
So, as much as I hate the fact that, all your audio platforms are filled with AI artists these days, I do use Suno sometimes just for inspiration, right? There are times when I've written extraordinary lyrics for like someone, but it doesn't get used, and I can't use it again because that tune is stuck in my head, right? So for me to just break out of that, I sometimes just feed the lyrics into Suno and it gives me a tune. And now I can think about something else, right? So those kind of things, it is helpful. So I think it's about how you use it as a tool and how you build on top of that.
True.
So
Correct. Yeah. Another question. So, in the future, so if you are directing a film, okay, and you have, if you are, you've already directed. So,
படம்லாம் பண்ணதில்ல bro.
no, you as AD இருந்திருக்கீங்க.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, in the future, so you're saying when you have the budget
Mhm.
and all that, you'll always have humans as the voice actors.
Correct.
You won't see a place where you will replace someone's voice with AI,
No.
right?
No, I don't see as much as this is great for voiceovers. Like AI is probably really good for voiceovers. I don't think AI can act the way humans can. Like, I don't think AI can ever perform the way humans can. Like, even with see, AI has made filmmaking very affordable and approachable, and it's now anybody can now be a filmmaker thanks to AI. Like you can make an entire music video in one day. Like with I spent 500 rupees and about 14 hours to make a music video that I'm very proud of, right? So it's made it that how to put it, easy for people to go out and put their work out, right? But irrespective, when a character speaks in an AI video, you can always make out that it's a character
Yes.
that is AI, right? That's because humans have a very different intonation, and it's impossible for AI to pick up all the different intonations that we have, all the unique intonations that each character has, and then replicate it exactly that way. So all AI characters sound exactly the same. So I don't think voice acting is in the near future. I don't see it getting replaced with AI. For example, in Indian 2, Vivek sir was not there to shoot a few scenes. So what do you do? Or to dub for him. So what do? Can you get someone else to dub for him and then use AI to replicate his voice? Those kind of things will happen for sure. But I don't think AI will completely take away voice acting roles from people. Also, I think voice actors are also a little bit of marketing gigs, especially for animation films and for big dubbing films. There's a reason why Vijay Sethupathi is Iron Man. You could have made any dubbing artist Iron Man. Like a big film requires certain names to get added to it, etc. So, அந்த காரணத்துக்காகவே I don't think AI will like replace anytime soon. Similarly with singers also. Um, I think like sometimes we want Bavatarni to come and sing this song. I think I've seen you and use Bavatarni's voice for something and SPB's voice for something. But that's it. So we might continue to use AI to bring back some of the voices that we miss. But I don't think AI can be a full-fledged singer for films, especially for vernacular films. Not yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I like that conversation
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we need to really understand how to use AI,
Mm,
not to replace it. But
correct.
you can use it as a tool to just
Exactly.
fasten some of those mundane works and all that.
Correct, correct.
I've seen ads where it says I need singers, need backing vocals and
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
It's very rarely that I get to see something like voice actors needed.
Mm.
At least I have not seen it. So if you have to put that down as a roadmap for a beginner, what would it be like? Where should they go and search for a role like that?
So in the film industry, so there is a dubbing union, and they are fairly particular and strict about using only union artists for films. I have heard that there are other ways to dub, but in general, the dubbing union is pretty strong, and they insist that only dubbing artists that are part of the union are dubbed, right? And I feel it is important for us to have a union that is strong, because that way payments come on time for all the artists. They can't release a movie without finishing payments for dubbing artists. And if any one of you have worked in films, you know how difficult it is to get payments from a film, right?
Yeah. But how
Uh,
does someone get into the union?
you do have to pay a certain amount
Okay.
and join the dubbing union, which is a fairly high amount. So I guess the path that I would recommend is you do not have to have that card for dubbing for ad films and for certain series like English to Tamil dubbing and all of that. For that, they are a little more lenient with regards to non-dubbing artists doing that, right? So I would recommend that you first start with ad films, see whether you like it, and then go about doing the other things. Even with these series and all of that, you go try it out, because dubbing is not necessarily for everybody. So once you're sure, and I mean, you might think you have a great voice, but it might not be a voice that fits for multiple characters. So, அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கு. Even as a singer, that's there, no?
Yes.
Like you might be a great singer, but you might
Yeah.
not be a great singer for the sound quality that a music director might expect. So, அந்த மாதிரி, you just have to like figure out whether you are a good artist, first of all, whether people like your voice for things like this, and then decide whether you want to invest the kind of money and become a union member. That's where I would recommend that you start.
Ah, okay. So if there's a movie and there's a character for which they are looking for a voice actor, does that not come straight to you? It goes through the union and
Yeah.
then to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, predominantly, I think it's both ways. Sometimes the director themselves have certain recommendations, or the ADs have certain recommendations because they've seen your work in some other movies, etc. I'm telling you how the union generally works. This is general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes film to film. So, what the union does is it gives a certain dubbing coordinator for each movie. So, these are people whose job is to make sure that the right voice dubs for the right people in the right budget. You have multiple artists that will fit a particular actor. So, depending on the budget and depending on the kind of skill that the director requires, and depending on how big or small the character is, they will find multiple artists. So even someone as known as me has to go for dubbing tests. Like if there is a character, I will go and do a small test where they see whether my voice fits that character. And depending on which voice they like most, they will call that person to dub for the character.
Okay, very
So,
interesting.
Yeah, so that's how the process generally works. Sometimes, and off late, most ADs do their own casting. They do their own dubbing casting also. They already say in the character பேசினால அந்த character இவங்களெல்லாம் கூப்பிடுங்க. So we still have to go do the dubbing test and they still pick from there. But either the dubbing coordinator calls for the names or the ADs calls for the names.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, nice, very interesting.
Yeah.
So I've also heard that generally for an RJ,
Mhm.
if they find an RJ for a particular channel,
Right.
it's very hard to replace them. So it usually takes a while unless there's a vacancy in the same channel because
Right,
the audience is
right.
used to their voice.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's usually like that. Is that the same way for a dubbing artist? Because, like, for example, you've dubbed for Trisha in multiple films.
Correct.
So, unless and until you're busy only, is it like they'll find somebody else for her?
இல்ல
or-
அப்படி இல்ல இல்ல. So even for Trisha, right? Chinmay also dubs for Trisha.
Hmm.
Right? It depends on what the director wants. Some people want Chinmay's voice for that character. Like Leo and all, they told me, like I also went for the dubbing test, but they were like, no, I think we want that, 96ல அந்த voice quality இருந்துச்சுல, we want that. அப்படின்னா அவங்க அப்பவே என்கிட்ட சொல்லியிருந்தாங்க.
Okay.
So I think some directors prefer certain voice qualities and they go for that. So there are multiple artists always, I mean, off late, multiple artists dubbing for artists these days.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Shari, we'll get into a rapid fire.
Oh,
questions,
okay. Sure.
Very simple.
Do I get a gift at the end of this?
I have something for you. So later I'll give
Sure.
you.
Okay.
So I'll give a sentence. Okay.
Yeah.
You complete it.
Okay.
Very simple.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So first one, if you could only do one art for the rest of your life,
Music.
between with so singing.
Music.
சரி, அடுத்து போயிடலாம். Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
The one piece of feedback that changed you as an artist was?
Long answer though. So this was when I was dubbing for Kadal.
Okay.
Till this point, I was still a very early stage dubbing artist. I had just done like 6-7 films and smaller characters. And there was a certain sequence, very emotional sequence, that I was slightly struggling with. Manisa walked into the studio and he was like, what is the problem? Why are you like so constricted? If you need to move, move. If you make noise, that's not your problem. That's the sound engineer's problem. So if you have to act, if you need to move your body, do it. Like you have to perform here and not just act with your voice. So that's what converted me from a dubbing artist to a voice actor.
Okay.
So I think that's the feedback that changed everything for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If your voice cracks while recording,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do?
Retake.
Retake.
Like that's
Voice exercise அந்த மாதிரிலாம். Okay.
So I'm not that big on voice exercise, to be very honest. I think I just
Talent.
no bro, genes. But I do have one secret ingredient. I carry this thing called Kantil.
Okay.
It's an Imcop's medicine. It's like a desi version of Vicks.
Okay.
What it does is it really just clears your throat out, like for the next few minutes. So if I'm feeling very constricted, I just pop a couple of Kantils, and since it's all just herbal, nothing happens.
Oh,
It's also a digestive, so it's awesome.
We will put the link. in
Yeah.
the description.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
The biggest difference between a singer and a voice artist is?
Singer has to sing. Voice artist doesn't. That's all.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's all the same. You still have to emote. You still have to say the words in the right meter and the right space. All of that. But I guess, yeah, you don't have to sing. The singing and the talent, voice artist.
Yeah, so you don't need to know music.
Correct. That's all.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay. If AI starts sounding exactly like you will?
At least ask for royalty, bro. So
Yeah. Okay. Every voice artist secretly hates what?
getting coming down with a cold.
Okay.
Because see, like that is your biggest asset. So if you are an Uber driver and your car has to be sent to the mechanic, it's yeah, I think that's what we hate.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And also smelly studios.
Okay. Okay. Understandable. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The fastest way to annoy a dubbing artist is? இவங்கள மாரி பேசுங்க.
இல்ல,
அவங்கள
இல்ல. அது இல்ல. I'm just trying to see which is the most annoying thing. I don't know how to say this shortly. I'll give you an anecdote.
Okay.
Okay. Again, early days, probably my third or fourth film. Padam Patale, you can see whether it's one dabba film or a good film, right? This was a film that was definitely not going to make it to the theaters. அந்த மாதிரி தான் இருந்துச்சு. But the director would, like the artist was so stone faced, they wouldn't have done anything. நீங்க சிரிங்க மேடம், பரவாயில்ல நீங்க சிரிங்க. I'll be like, அவங்க ஃபேஸ்ல சிரிப்பே இல்ல, பரவாயில்ல சிரிங்க. ஸோ when you sit, இன்னும் இப்பதான் மேடம் நீங்க ஒரு 100 டிக்கெட் வித்திருக்கீங்க, இன்னும் ஒரு 1000 டிக்கெட் விற்கிற அளவுக்கு சிரிங்க. What kind of a feedback is that? Right? So like when you are not able to give the right feedback, like I understand dubbingல பார்த்துக்கலாம், I understand editingல பார்த்துக்கலாம், but பார்த்துக்கணும்னா what do you wantங்கிற சரியான brief, if you are able to give, only the artist can do that. Loose talk without giving the right feedback sometimes can be not useful.
Okay. If you could steal one singer's voice for a day, you'd pick who?
Vaikom Vijayalakshmi.
Okay.
Such a unique voice that can do like so much magic. So big fan. So yeah.
Okay. Nice. The biggest lie in every recording studio is final take.
Correct.
இருக்கவே இருக்காது அது.
வாய்ப்பே இல்ல. அவ்வளவுதான் முடிஞ்சு.
Yeah.
Correct.
All my revisions will be like final V1. Yeah.
வாய்ப்பு இல்ல.
Yeah.
Agree with you.
So the last question. So if there's a student who wants to come and learn both singing
Okay.
and wants to become a voice actor, they want to do both. They want to be like you. Okay. ரெண்டுமே பண்ணணும்னு ஆசைப்படுறாங்க.
Right.
What would be the first lesson that you would give them?
For singing, I will send them first of all to a different teacher. I'm a very impatient singing teacher. I'm better at voice acting teaching. As a voice actor, I think the first thing that so far, anyone that has come to me, the two things that I've asked them to do is to watch how they speak when they are in a certain emotion. And the second one is to sit in front of the mirror and talk to themselves and notice how they are speaking, or record and listen back. Sometimes that's what's missing, for you to listen and fix it.
Okay.
And also it really helps to just pick any movie and just try dubbing at your home.
Okay.
Like mute it and like listen to it, how they've spoken, mute it and dub it, record it and see if it works. More than a lesson, the biggest advice I will give is that you're not going to be great on day one. It's going to take multiple days, a lot of practice, and several disappointments before you hit the mark. So don't be deterred, I guess.
Okay. Anyways, thank you so much, Madrashe.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, because one quality that I liked about you is the first time I spoke with you on Instagram and on WhatsApp is that you made me feel extremely comfortable to speak with you. I felt like a friend. I felt like I already knew you for a while. It's like I knew you for a while. That's how you approached me. Baby, lug it. It was just so sweet.
Yeah.
So I thank you for being very kind and humble. It's a very rare and a most beautiful quality in my eyes.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
And you have a beautiful talent. So I wish and pray that you get a lot more opportunities in whatever venture you're doing. Or hoping to meet you in some of those projects too.
Yes,
and
for
working
sure.
together.
Same to you also, Flo. I think you really have a knack with mixing. I think you also, I haven't seen you as a producer yet, but I do hope to see you doing more there as well. And onwards and upwards, bro. Keep it going.
Thank you so much. So if you want to follow Madrashe, I'll link all the socials below. If you have any questions, you can drop your comments below and we'll be happy to answer that.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. My name is Florina Jain, otherwise known as FloOfMusic, and I'll see you in another video.